Do you know how many gifted people I have watched crash and burn? People with talent so bright it could light a city block. And yet, they never made it. You see, talent is flashy. It glitters, but all that glitters isn't gold. It dazzles at first and then disappears when the real test comes. What keeps you in the game isn't talent, it's character. It's morality, integrity, edge, and offering something that's actually in demand. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leavona. I have been creating and building businesses for over 25 years. I am a mentor and sales coach for small and new business owners, and I'm here to help you win. If that sounds like something you would like more of, subscribe to this channel. Let's start with the truth. Talent can open doors, but only morality keeps you welcomed in the room. I've seen people lie, cheat, and manipulate their way to the top, only to fall back down hard. Because when your heart is wrong, your gift becomes a weapon against you. The marketplace doesn't just buy skill anymore. It buys trust. And once that trust is gone, your name becomes dirt. Ask anyone who's ever been canceled. Reputation costs more than genius. Talent without morality is self-sabotaging. It's a ticking time bomb that always goes off eventually. So if you've been relying on raw ability alone, thinking that's your ticket to success, you're playing the short game. Now let's talk about integrity. Integrity is the invisible currency of real business. It's the quiet force that compounds behind the scenes when no one is watching. It says no when everyone else says yes to the wrong deal. It keeps your word when it costs you to keep it. Integrity feels slow at first. You'll watch others cutting corners and cashing checks, but wait a while. Their tower is built on sand. Integrity is the foundation that doesn't shake when the storm hits. Every deal, every client, every promise, it all adds to your invisible bank account. And one day, when you least expect it, that reputation will pay you back 100-fold. Integrity is expensive at first, but it pays the best dividends. Now, let's add another layer, your edge. Let's not get it twisted here. Being moral doesn't mean being soft. You need edge. Edge is your sharpened skill. It's the part of you that can adapt, innovate, and then dominate when life gets real. Edge is what happens when your talent goes through and comes out strong like flint. But here's the key. Edge without morality turns to manipulation. And morality without edge turns to mediocrity. You need both. Integrity keeps you grounded. Edge makes you unstoppable. Now, let's talk about something I call the why factor. This is the engine that drives all of it. Your why is the reason you wake up and fight again tomorrow, even when you got knocked down flat on your face today. Without a why, talent runs out of gas. Without a why, integrity feels like a burden instead of a blessing. Your why gives meaning to the grind. It's the part of you that connects what you do to who you are. Because here's the thing. When your why is strong, your how gets easier. When you know why you're doing it, why you started the business, why you chose honesty, why you refuse shortcuts, then you'll have the stamina to keep going when the crowd quits. That's what separates the builders from the burnouts. And finally, be in demand. You can be the kindest, most talented, most integrous person in the world. But if you're offering something nobody needs, you'll still starve. You have to be valuable in the marketplace. Study what people actually want. Don't just create what you like. Create what they need. Then align your moral compass, sharpen your edge, and deliver it better than anyone else. When morality meets mastery and both meet demand, you become unstoppable. So, no talent alone wouldn't save you. It'll get you noticed, then get you exposed. Morality will guide you. Integrity will protect you. Edge will push you forward. Your why will keep your heart lit, and demand will keep you relevant. Together, that's a combination that never goes out of style. If this spoke to you, drop a "stay sharp" in the comments, because the marketplace doesn't reward talented. It rewards the trustworthy and the consistent. Be the one who has it all: skill, soul, and sense. That's how you win, and you keep winning. If this message has been helpful, and if it has encouraged you, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It will help spread this message and get other aspiring entrepreneurs on board. Now, at this time, we will move into the freestyle portion of the video that I do every day. It's called our Why Factor. I believe it's important for us to remind ourselves why we do business. Let's be honest here. Things can get really hard sometimes for us entrepreneurs. There are times when we can downright question everything and really doubt ourselves and our mission. That is why we need to recall every day why we went into business in the first place. Listen, life is precious, so we have to cherish it. So let's take some time now to reflect on these things. All right, tonight, reflection on the why factor. I have been telling you that the reason why I went in is for freedom. I explained to you that when we're free, we're more relaxed. If you're always agitated and burdened and depressed, it leads to other things. And so having the ability to have freedom makes life easier. You see some older people, nothing seems to bother them. They have built their lives. Life has been good to them. You know, there's a saying in my country, some men are born great, some men achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. And I don't know where in the bracket some of these people fit, but you see them, they age like fine wine. I would love for that to happen to me. And I hope you aspire for it too, because they're so relaxed. They have everything. The health is in control. The money is in control. Their children weren't bad to them. They have grandkids. You know, everybody has problems, but something about this particular elite group of people. You sit with them, you have conversations, and they're so calm and all put together. And I tell myself, if freedom can bring me to a place of peace, I think that's it. That's it. They have peace. So tonight we're going to introduce peace into our package here. So we started business because we want to have freedom. And if we have freedom, we can make a choice that we want to go the route of peace, because no one ever gets unscratched. You understand? something happens to us every day, a little this, a little that. But if our mindset is in the right place, we take that problem and you find a way. You don't let it stick. Change it by the way we think. And I think peace is something we might want to start thinking about. Yes? Okay. Let's meditate on peace more often and tell ourselves that we will not be dragged in to the nonsense that goes on. Sometimes when you're in corporate, you might hear something erupt between two employees, and you go and you stand on the fringe and you listen and you say, you know what? This is nonsense. I'm not getting myself involved. Oh, Leovona, what do you think? No comments. Back to my office, right? Close the door, sitting there, and I shut it out. And that's the same thing we have to do with life. Sometimes you have to close the door to your mind and shut all the nonsense out. So, we went into business because we want freedom. Tonight we added peace. We have this thing that we can create and push out to the world. In the message tonight, we're going to do a little recap on that. But we spoke about something there that we have to know how we do it. And so, we're looking at freedom, peace, and we're going to deal with creativity, whatever we have in our hands, how we create. And then I told you, I think last night that I'm going to keep adding more things to it. We have the creativity part, and then we also want to serve. Without people, we don't have a business. And so even though some of them are difficult, we have to know how to deal and what type of people we deal with, right? So I hope that helps. And, you can think about other reasons that you can see that I'm not seeing, or at least I'm not releasing yet. And you can put it in the comments and tell me what is your why? Why did you do business? Why did you start business? Why are you still in the game? All right. We can learn from each other. I can learn a thing or two. All right. So I want to make my announcement now. Live stream Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live stream daily, Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. We are off on Saturday and Sunday as we work behind the scenes, catching up on, production and whatever else we have to do to improve the program. All right, so let us do a little recapping on the topic. We talked about talent tonight and why it's not just talent, because a lot of people have talent, but somehow they don't make it to the end. They don't come through at the end because they burn out, or they don't have what it takes. To become an entrepreneur, you have to have a lot of gall. You have to have a lot of fortitude. You have to be strong, and you have to be able to rock things. And so we talked about a lot of information was poured out at you. As I said it, I was just spitting it out. But my husband and I, like the other night, I couldn't remember the word, but it's reverse engineering. Going back and actually thinking about what I did and when that happened, how did I deal with it and stuff like that. So I trust that you will go back and go over the videos when you have time and see how they can help you. Last night I spoke to you about starting to look, to examine, to study yourself, to see what is it. I noticed that I have this gift. I can really braid hair. And before you know it, you open up a little shop, and because people always come to you, they love how you do hair, and you have a special gift that you take people's hair, you perm the hair and everything, and their hair just starts to grow. It's doing really good, and people praise you, and before you know it, you're working for people at their weddings. They're actually paying for you to travel with them to their wedding and be in the honeymoon suite and all of this stuff, dressing all of their bridesmaids and what's not. I mean, the sky is the limit. So you have to watch the gift. You have to study what you have. And then you have to say, well, okay, I find one of the fastest ways to get in, like I said last night, is that you start studying, you're watching, and then you know where you have found deficit. You know where they drive you crazy because they take your money and they don't give you quality. I remember the days when we used to go to a restaurant and they told you that you were at 5 stars, 4 stars, right? And you sat down to eat and everything was so good. And then as time went by, you start noticing like they're warming up the food. The food is cooked and it's sitting back there somewhere and they're just throwing it in a microwave. Why would I go to a place and pay you $70 per person or $100 for a meal only to have you put my food in the microwave? I could have done that at home. I didn't want microwave food tonight. That's why I came. You see my point? So if you're good at cooking, do you have the ability to give people something right off the stove? When it comes, it's hot. Microwave food, you can tell when it's microwaved because the heat is there. And by the time they walk to you and put it on your table, it starts to fade off. But when the heat comes from the stove, it's in there. It's in, and it takes a little while. My husband, I'm sure he would have a chemical reason as to why the heat stays longer in the one that's done on the stove and why it just runs out in the microwave. He's a scientist, this one. Very talented. Yeah. Anyway, he's probably studying something behind the background there. So he tells me sometimes, oh, I didn't hear what you were saying. I was doing something, but yeah. I would say things and then he would just tell me what it is, Always has the chemical or the scientific reason for things. But yeah. So, you never know. You have a talent to cook, and then you cook and you find that, you can actually give people their food hot. And people start liking that again. We miss certain things, and we miss when we go to these restaurants, the food doesn't taste good anymore. It tastes like you're eating cardboard. Disgusting. So you look in the market and you see where you can change what is horrible and you try to fix it. And that's how you find your talent. But also, because you might find the problem there and you feel that you can do it better, you have to make sure that you know what it costs to maintain an operation like that. And what people give you the premium prices that you call. I think right now, in everything out there, we're being charged premium. I had one of my logistics customers stopped me this morning. We were talking, and he said, they come and they tell me they want to have, I have a lot of lights and I'm old, I can't put the lights up anymore. He's already gearing up for Christmas. And he says, the only thing is I have all these lights. And then they come and they tell me they want to sell me their lights. No, I want you to use my lights. And then he says they're so expensive, They tell you they're going to charge you $3,000 to run lights around your house. I smiled and internally I smiled. I said, well, when you look at this big mansion you have here, those boys come and they see you like you look like a fat cash cow to them, It's just sometimes we build these big castles and then we want this stuff and the guys got to work. You know, the guy might have to throw about 10 people to get his castle lit. And then he doesn't want their lights. He wants them to use his lights. And you know how our lights are. They're all tangled. Half of it doesn't work. Do you see why those guys just go and buy the lights and bring it? It's annoying. But, you know, I left him and I smiled to myself because he's an elderly one. And he says, I said, some of your lights up there are out right now. He says, yeah, do you know which one? I said, I tried to memorize it, but I forgot. Because I haven't seen you for a while to pass it on, so I just forgot about it and kept moving. He says, okay, I'll come out in the morning when I put it on, when I put the lights on, and I'll see which one it is. They're just adorable, you know? That's why I love them so much. I love when they stop and we can talk because life is so, it moves so fast, you know what I mean? And before you know it, I'm looking for Charlie and I'm not seeing Charlie. And then Charlie's son steps out one day and tells me Daddy's in the hospital. His kidneys are shot. Kidneys are shot? Huh. Yeah. And my father never drank. All right. Let's leave that one there. Mr. COVID. Right? All right. So, guys, I think that's about it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me do my freestyling. I hope you like it. If you like this section of it, just make comments and tell me, all right? So have a wonderful evening. I hope you had a wonderful day. Mine was uneventful. I just sat around after I came back in from the logistics thing and try to follow what was happening with elections all over the country. All right, guys. So I hope the person that you wanted to win actually wins. And I hope that our country continues to be blessed by God. All right. If the blessing of God stays with us, then we don't have to worry about how our businesses are going to make it and that people are going to pull out and people are going to start tying up their pockets. So let's pray for our country. Let's pray for the leaders. God says that we must do that. All right. So we can have peace in our lives. Whatever good is happening at the top is going to trickle down to us also. All right. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. And I see you again in the next one. God bless you.